Now, further survival advantages are developed when the forelimbs are freed up from being 100% about locomotion and weight bearing. All of a sudden, now, not only can you look around, but you can grab little nuts, you can build nests, you can carry twigs, you can groom each other, you can do all sorts of fun things when these are no longer 100% about holding up weight and getting around. And we can see with these little marmots or whatever they are, and their tails help them with the balance, of course, okay? They can start doing things with their forelimbs. And of course, they do say that, humans probably evolved from something more like this, But what we're pretty sure about is our relationship to the primates. They're our closest cousins. And they have the primary curve, and they have the secondary curve in the neck. But what they don't have is the secondary curve. In fact, there is no other mammal on the planet other than us that has two secondary curves, meaning the lumbar curve, because that is the curve of a biped. And we are the only biped mammals on the planet. I used to just say biped without the mammal part. That's what I used to say, but I had an anthropologist who took my course a few years ago, and he cleaned up a lot of my language, actually, but he reminded me that there are two-legged birds, that get around on two legs, so you could say they're bipeds. So I just qualified it with mammal. But we are the only true bipeds on the planet. And one of the things that distinguishes a biped from a close cousin like an ape or an orangutan or a chimpanzee is that we possess a lumbar curve. And we've seen chimps, in movies or on TV or whatever, and they can be trained to go up on their hind legs and kind of walk around, but notice how they have to kind of do this, right? Why are their arms way up there? What's that about? Well, they have huge, massive, long arms. Really, really strong. They are brachiating, swinging kind of creatures. And they're heavy. And they have no lumbar curve. So in order to get their center of gravity over this base of support on just their lower legs, they have to take all of this, okay? And remember, they have no lumbar curve, and they have to get that weight somehow back above and slightly behind them. Which is why you can train them to do that for a certain length of time, but it's really not comfortable for them, and they'll go back to getting around the way that they really get around, which is knuckle walking. They're knuckle walkers and brachiators. They swing. Right? And you can see that their spine is just not built for standing exclusively on their hind legs. They do not have a lumbar curve. And what's interesting, when you look at how a quadruped, in terms of its spine, makes the transition from quadruped to biped, is that the orientation of the legs and the pelvis to gravity stays pretty much the same. What happens is the entire torso gets shoved up and back, and the lumbar curve shows up. Right? Because if you look here, see the orientation of the pelvis, the sacrum and the tail to the femur? Okay? So you can cast a shadow that's kind of similar, all right? There, like that. This is going to stay pretty much where it is. It's all of this that gets shoved up, like that. So this is really the key thing. It gets our center of gravity up over our feet and allows us to do the characteristic human thing we do of walking around on 2 feet and having our arms completely free to, well, to build all of this.